Welcome to the second in the three-part video series of the comprehensive guide to all Pokemon Red and Blue menuing. This video is going to cover battle menu guides, so when you're inside the battle menu, how that works, as well as some miscellaneous menuing stuff that is in the overworld text or a couple other things that are sort of easy to miss. So if you didn't watch the other part, I'm going to lean on you knowing a little bit about item buffering and item menu buffering, because there's item menus inside the battle menu, so do watch that. But if you do end up watching this, hopefully you learned something. As a reminder, please do like the video, comment if there's anything that you're confused about or anything that you want more clarification on, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content like this. So now we're going to talk about battle concepts. There are a couple of key things about battle concepts that you need to know. One thing is that whenever there is a Pokemon cry, or you're taking damage, or the other Pokemon's taking damage, if you have a menu immediately after that, you can hold A, press, and buffer during that. So, for example, when Squirtle is going to come out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold A, and it's going to immediately let me select the battle menu. So here, Squirtle comes out. You can hold A pretty early here, but Squirtle's going to cry, and now the battle menu is going to immediately open because I held A during that. And that works with some other inputs as well. I'll go over those in more detail. This also works if you're taking damage as well. So if I tackle here, if I get tackled, then I'll demonstrate one thing. So now here, I can hold A, and you'll notice that that immediately opens. So while I was taking damage, whenever that text appears that tackle has happened, you can hold A and immediately get that buffer. Additionally, if a status move happens, so let's say that I tail whip here, I get leered. So the but it failed text, this is the last text box before menu. For these boxes, whatever they are, right, whatever the last text box is before menu, if I press B and then immediately press A, it will immediately let me do something. So whatever it has to be B into A though, it can't be A into A. So if I clear this with B and then immediately hit A, you can immediately get the text press in the next possible frame. So I can go BA here, and then it immediately lets you in, and then you can use whatever move you need to use. So those are the main two concepts for this. Basically, anytime there is a Pokemon cry, be it yours or the opponent's, if there's an opponent Pokemon cry as it's coming out, whenever that's happening, if you hold A, it'll immediately get you into the battle menu. And same thing, as I demonstrated before, if you get tackled or something like that, and there's HP ticking down, it'll immediately let you into the battle menu. So here, I'm going to hold A, and then I have to press A again to apply tackle. So typically you'll get a rhythm for this after doing this enough times where here, if I want to tackle immediately, I'm going to hold A and then immediately press A after, and that's going to be the fastest possible that I can do that. As a note, if you want to buffer an attack after a text box like this, it's going to be BAA. So you're just going to BAA that. In order to buffer an item, the same concept applies. During a Pokemon cry, or even during a tackle or something like that, you can be holding down A, and once again this applies to not only your Pokemon cries, but other Pokemon's cries as well. If you hold down A, it will immediately get you into the item menu. So here I'm going to hold down A, it's going to immediately get you into the item menu, and that's going to immediately open the items. When you're in this item menu, all of the concepts about item menus that we had still apply. So if you're holding down A, so say that let me reset this. If I hold down A during this Pokemon cry, and I'm holding down A, and I press any other button during this, say B, it reapplies both my down and my A press to this menu. So effectively, to do a slot 2 buffer, you're going to want to hold down A to get into this menu, and then apply another button. If you're doing a slot 1 buffer, it's a little bit trickier. So slot 1 buffering is a little bit trickier here. To do a slot 1 buffer, I hold down an A, and then instead of holding down, you have to switch from holding down to holding a different button besides down. It could be left, could be right, because you're trying to reapply just the A press. So here, I'm going to hold down A, I'm going to release down, and then I put B in there. So let me show that one more time, except for I'm going to use a different press this time. So I'm going to go down, and I'm going to switch from down to left, and it's going to apply only the A press, not the down press to use slot 1. Notice if I was holding down and A there, and I use a different button, then it applies the slot 2 instead of the slot 1. To buffer slot 2 or slot 3, when you're in the Pokemon menu, it's exactly the same. So if I want to buffer slot 2, I hold down A to get into the item menu, press down, and then press A immediately after to get the slot 3 buffer. So it's exactly the same as when I'm in that other menu. The only thing that changes is a slot 2 buffer. So if we wanted to buffer slot 2, if I was on this, then I hold down A to get into the item menu, and I press B to reapply it, and note that it reapplies that. And so note, by the way, that all this also works if a Pokemon attacks, right, with item buffering. So if a Pokemon attacks, you can hold down A to get into the item menu. Here, you can press, like, B down A to get into the item menu. Or here, say that I was on the item menu and wanted to get to attack, I could press B up A immediately and then go to the combat menu. So B up A and go to the combat menu, and then I could use some combat moves. So you can apply these buffers to do different directional A inputs as long as you apply them in that way. There's one exception to this that I'm going to talk about for using Pokemon and for running away. If you want to buffer Pokemon, you can't hold A button, and same thing with run. So buffering Pokemon, buffering run, you can't hold the A button. You can only buffer the directional input of it. So say that I try to buffer Pokemon, I'm going to hold right A during the Pokemon cry to buffer it. Here the A press happened, but it didn't actually select Pokemon. The right press did happen, but the A press didn't happen. So if you want to buffer this, then effectively what you have to do is that you have to hold right, like such, and then press A immediately after, and then it'll put you into the Pokemon menu. It's the exact same thing for running away, right? If you try and run away with a buffered A press, the A press won't happen. So I'm going to hold down right and A. You'll notice that you heard the A press, but it didn't happen. That's because the A press won't buffer for run. You have to press down right and then press A immediately after if you want to run away from a Pokemon. Like that. So here I can demonstrate a couple of buffers, right? So while I'm setting up this level up clear buffer, let's demonstrate a couple of buffers in action. As a note, by the way, this is something that I should throw in somewhere, but mashing will typically ruin your ability to buffer. So, like, if you're mashing, then it's bad. But there, the Abra came in, I held the A button, and then immediately pressed A. So here, after this Abra, I'm going to get a level up. And during this level up, if you're not mashing, then what you can do is that during the level up box where it has a jingle, you can hold the A or the B button and immediately get the text to not appear. So let me save state this and show you exactly what I mean. So here there's level up text. If I hold B, there's no text that appears. However, if I had not held A or B, what happens is that this text will appear here, like this, and you have to press A or B to clear it. So if you're mashing, then you'll press A and B to clear it, and it'll clear. But if you're just holding A, if you hold A and B after this, then you can just hold A or B to clear it. When you're in red bar, there are a lot of small differences, and typically you'll be in red bar a lot in runs, because in red bar, a lot of the cries don't play, a lot of the jingles don't play, so it changes a lot of the timings, because, as you'll notice, there's no cries, and normally you're buffering your A presses or whatever during the Pokemon cries. So instead what you have to do is that you have to do the buffers when the text box appears. So what we're going to do is that in this battle, I'm going to be in red bar, because we have a red bar set up for this. So in this battle, I'm going to be red barred for this. After this clears, I'm going to be in red bar. Let's just buffer the attack press. So to buffer the attack press, what I'm going to do is that the second the text appears, I'm going to press A. So Drowsy appears, that's fine. Once my text appears, go A, I hold A, and I immediately get that buffer. So it buffers that open. If instead I had wanted to buffer item, I would just hold down A. It works exactly the same, it's just that the timing for things, you have to adjust to the fact that you're in red bar, and immediately when the Pokemon comes out, you're going to be allowed to move, right? So if I Earthquake here, that's going to kill this. When the next Pokemon comes out, let's just time this. Let me time it down A press to open the item menu. So I'm going to time down A, it's going to open the item menu like that. So if I Earthquake this, then whenever I see that Pokemon text appear, that's when I'm pressing down A, right? So here I can spam down A. Suppose I want to use like a slot 2 buffer or a slot 3 buffer, then what I would do is that I would hold down A, get into the menu, and then I would press like down an A and use an X speed. And then here when this comes out, we can press up A and then like Earthquake, right? So we can essentially do that buffering whenever there's a Pokemon cry, but it's going to be a little bit faster because of everything, right? So I can press down A, reapply it there. I was on a bad item, so it didn't reapply the down A. That down A only works if you're at the top of the menu, right? So yeah, so all of that, all the buffering works. It's just a lot faster when you're in red bar. You just have to be careful that you do it when the text appears instead of anticipating the Pokemon cry. So many times throughout the game, there will be jingles that play during text boxes. And whenever there's a jingle playing during a text box, typically you can just hold a button during that and it will it will automatically buffer the text. So here at the very beginning, there's going to be a part where Nidorino cries in 2 text boxes. So I clear this text box. When I clear this box, Nidorino's going to cry. Notice that if I hold a button during this, it will immediately press this. So I'm going to press A, and I'm just going to hold B during the cry, and it's going to buffer the B press here. So see how I held the B button, it immediately buffered the press, so it cleared the text box immediately. So this happens anytime there is a jingle on screen, and this happens at many small points during the game. So typically, like, if you receive a TM, if, like, you receive a badge from a gym leader, there's a bunch of places where jingles will play. If you're not spamming buttons when the jingle plays, and you can sort of hold the button to clear it, it should clear the box on the jingle. Note that if you're spamming really hard and you spam during the jingle, it might mess this up, but if you're not spamming and you just hold the B button during the jingle, it will typically be okay. One thing that you can use the jingle buffering for that's very useful is when you catch a Pokemon, there are a lot of jingles here that you can do buffers to immediately clear the text boxes. And during the Pokedex part of it as well, there's also buffering that you can do to immediately get past menus. So I'm going to showcase a couple of these. So after I do this, there's going to be a jingle, and I'm going to hold A during the jingle to clear it. So if I hold A here, it automatically clears it. After this Pokedex thing, there's going to be another jingle that I can do to clear, and then immediately after that, there's going to be a Pokemon cry that plays after that, and that Pokemon cry is also a jingle that you can do. So I'm going to do buffer during this, and then immediately press the next button, and that Pokedex part is the same no matter what Pokemon you catch. You can sort of go buffer into press the button, and it immediately clears the menu, and then you can just nickname your Pokemon. So this is a good application of the jingle buffering that in the Pokedex menu, there's like so many places that jingles happen, you can buffer every single one of those places. All right, so for this trainer name, if you press the B button to clear this, the next thing that pops up is going to be the menu to name your trainer. If you hold B and then hold A immediately after, it will immediately press A. So there's an opportunity to buffer. So if I press B then A here, it just immediately buffers that A press, and then you can name your rival whatever you need to name it. Or name your own trainer whatever you need to name it. It works also for your rival menu when you're naming your rival. So if I press B, and let's say I hold, like, you know, down here, it immediately buffers that down press. And I think maybe it would buffer an A press too. Yeah, so I named it red. Yeah, so it works. Yeah, so pressing B and then down A works as well. When you're teaching a move to a Pokemon, you can, there is this 1-2 Poof text that appears right after you are like teaching the move. If you're holding A when you teach the move, it goes through that text way faster. So let me save the state here. So suppose that I'm teaching this move. I'm going to teach Rock Slide. I'm going to teach it in slot 1. So note here, if I don't hold A, so I'm just going to press A to teach it in slot 1 here. We get this 1-2 and Poof text, and it takes a long time to clear this. So let's try this again, except for this time when I teach the move, I'm going to hold the A button when I'm teaching the move. And you notice that the text is way faster. So here, I hold the A button, and now it immediately appears the 1-2 and Poof, and then I can immediately clear it. So that saves like a little bit of time every time that you do it. I should also note, by the way, that this works whenever you're teaching a move, anytime. So this, even in battle, if you're teaching a move, holding A when you're teaching the move also skips the Poof. When you are mashing through menus, or if you're just pressing through menus, any menu that doesn't have an arrow, so notice that there's this blinking arrow on the bottom right of the screen. The blinking arrow, if that's not there, the boxes clear faster with B than they do with A. To demonstrate this, there is a box right here after this one that I'm going to clear with A to show you that it clears a little bit slower. So let's clear with A. So you see all the text printed, come here with me, right? So every single little bit of text printed. Now, let's do that again, except for I'm gonna mash B during that box to clear that menu. So once again, I'm here. Here we're gonna mash B. Notice that it cleared a little bit faster than when I mashed A. It cleared just a little teeny bit faster than when I mashed A. Just a little hair smidgen faster than when I pressed A. All the text printed, but it cleared very, very fast. So when you're using dig or fly or teleport, you get this animation where you are sort of teleporting back. During that animation, you can buffer a start press. So here, I'm just going to hold start right here, and start will open the second that I'm able to, and then you can start menuing. It works the same off of fly, so if I fly somewhere, so say that I fly to Fuchsia City, then I'm just going to hold start. The window on this is very generous. I'm going to wait for the screen transition, hold start, and it's immediately going to open the start menu. So that's a pretty free buffer to do that. You don't have to mash start when you're flying or teleporting or digging or anything like that. This also works as escape rope as well, that anytime you're doing that teleporting, you can literally just hold start and it will open the start menu immediately after you get there. That covers the guide on battle menuing and some other miscellaneous things. The next video in the series is going to cover instant text, which is a sort of special case of menuing. So, there's one more video after this. If you enjoyed this video, as a reminder, please do like and comment if there's anything that you're confused about. Also, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot, and it signals to me that you enjoy this content. So, if you enjoyed this, thank you all so much. I greatly appreciate you, and see you all next time.